Alright, welcome back. This is episode 70 in our Let's Play series for Space Engineers. I've upgraded to the new version. This is 1.191.105, and it might be all in my head, but when I was flying the cargo shuttle in just a minute ago to get it docked up, it looked like the graphics might have gotten a little bit better. I don't know, I think that's probably my imagination. But our hydrogen tanks are full, so that happened. Let's see how we're doing on storage space here. Nice. We chewed through a decent amount of that ice there. And if I had to guess, I would say that the Mega Miner's tank is also completely full, and that's kind of a problem. I should have turned that one off. Oh well. Too much hydrogen is one of them good problems. We'll probably have to find something to do with it, though. I'll probably stick some more tanks up on top. We're going to end up with a whole bunch of hydrogen tanks on top of this thing. Anyway. What we're doing. Oh yeah, what we're doing today is we're going to work on some scripting fixes. Just some random things that are kind of a problem and need to be addressed. One of them is that we are sorting the output inventory. Well, it's technically the input inventory of the assemblers when they're in disassemble mode. The component inventory, I should call it. We're sorting everything out of there when it's trying to disassemble stuff, which is not helpful. So we need to come in here and this needs to care about what mode it's in, and this needs to care if the queue is empty on this one. So I'm going to go ahead and break the line here because I know I'm going to need to. And I'm going to copy this. No, I'm not going to copy that. Am I? Yeah, I am for now. There might be a better way to do this without needing to basically evaluate the same if condition twice. With this is queue empty thing. Because I can just say if the queue's empty, then go ahead and pull whatever. Can't I? I think I can. So if the queue's empty, nah, I don't want to do it that way. No, I don't want to do it that way, because then I'll basically have to call the sort block thing. I'll have to type the sort block thing over and over again. It looks cleaner this way. So if is queue empty there. So this is if. Okay, well, first of all, I'm going to go ahead and cast it, because I don't need to do that twice. Alright, so we've cast the block to an assembler. Now we don't have to do this part. But what we do need to do is check the mode, and of course I didn't bother to look at this beforehand, so I have to go back to the API now and figure it out. The assembler interface has a mode property, and that mode property is an enum, or an enumeration for those of us less programmatically inclined. It is either assembly or disassembly. So here we need to say and assembler dot mode equals my assembler mode dot assembly, and this is going to be pretty much the same thing, except instead of assembly it's going to be disassembly. Pretty sure that's what those are supposed to be. Yeah. Alright, so if it's in assembly mode and the queue is empty, clear out the input inventory. This doesn't seem right either. I think I'm going to be missing, like, if the queue is not empty, it's still supposed to clean out the output inventory. Okay, yeah, here's what I need to do. I need to reverse these. And these need to be OR. So if the queue is empty or we're disassembling, if we're disassembling, then we want to pull all the ores out, or the ingots out rather, as they're produced by disassembling things. Or if the queue's empty, it doesn't matter what mode it's in. Here, if the queue's empty or we're in assembly mode, we want to clear out all the components. So if it's assembling stuff, it doesn't matter if the queue's empty. If the queue's empty, it doesn't matter what mode it's in. So that's that taken care of. Now, if we check code on that, we're going to have a whole bunch of errors because I didn't do it right. This is just supposed to be straight up equals, which is just as well because the other error that I had was skipping a parenthesis again. I have been spoiled by a different editor. This editor, by the way, is awful. But Visual Code, which is also not my favorite, but at least has the decency to put my closing parentheses in automatically, so I just have to make sure they line up right and put everything in the right spot, not make sure they're there. Anyway, so that's done now. Now if I go into production, switch over to disassembling mode, and tell it to disassemble 100 steel plates, it will pull all those steel plates in and just disassemble them. It won't keep pulling them back out. So now that's doing what it's supposed to do. Alright, so that's one fix. Another fix is the ore priority, because when we dock up with the space industrial complex or add something to the priority list, even if it ends up being higher priority than what the refinery is working on at that moment, it will still put things at the end of the list or end of the queue rather than putting them in the proper priority order. So we have to figure out how to deal with that. And I did not really plan this ahead. I have a vague sort of idea of how I want to do that. We are putting things in slots. I'm not sure. See, now I gotta try to remember how the hell this thing worked and what this thing is here, because it cares about the slot, but it doesn't seem to be handling it properly. And I remember looking at this at one point and saying, oh, that's not doing that because I never told it to. So this is a little bit of a review because I don't remember what I did. So find item slot returns the exact slot that the inventory item is in. That the item is in the inventory, rather, starting from whatever index. Looking for ores, sorting that particular ore. It has the refinery inventory already. It's pulling it out of there from that slot. It's counting how much do we have. Here's where it reads the priorities. Sort ore. Here it's finding it in the refinery inventory and just trying to put it in the same slot. Okay, so it doesn't necessarily care. Yeah, it puts it at the end if it can't find it. And that, for me, is a problem. Because instead of putting it at item count, it's supposed to be putting it in the proper priority. Now, the easiest way to deal with this, honestly, is to just clear it. Because if we clear the refinery queue, then it'll get added back in the correct order. But I don't want it to just be constantly clearing. I want it to only clear it when it's appropriate to do so. And it seems to me, I mean, I know there's an easy way to do this because I have a command for it. So let's find the command and see what the command does. Process refinery commands, clear, it just sorts the block inventory. Okay, so that's simple enough. Now we just have to decide when to do this. And I think whenever we change priority is a good time. So this is our priority command. It adjusts the refinery priority for this refinery and passes in the command. So immediately after doing that, we'll have it sort block inventory. So if we change the inventory or the refining priority at any point, once it's done adjusting, it will clear the refineries out and reload them in the proper new priority. So that's one thing. Now the other issue is that if we dock up with the mega miner, for example, we could have a whole bunch of something on the mega miner that is not already in the refinery queue, and at the moment it will be added onto the end. So we need to detect that circumstance and clear it as well. But we don't want it to clear it just because there are multiple items in the refinery queue. We want to only clear it if the items in the refinery queue are in the wrong order. So how do we do that? This is loading everything in, and it puts things in at the end. It puts whatever the current priority is at the end, or wherever it's already sitting. So what we can do is, after we're done sorting whatever ore we're looking at into whatever refinery we're looking at, I think we've got the refinery inventory already. I think what we can do we have the items already? I'm pretty sure we do. No, it doesn't look like it. We don't have a list of all the items. Okay. We have a method here somewhere that figures out what the, yeah, get ore at priority. But that doesn't do get priority of ore, and that's what we actually need. That's all right here. This is where we're reading the priorities. So we do have a list of, sorry, I'm relearning this code here for a second, so yeah, you'll have to be a little bit patient with me. I haven't looked at it in a little bit. Um, uh, 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 uh. Shooting at something. Sounds like we're very seriously shooting at something. I'm not sure what. That private sale's out of range. I didn't hear it announce a meteor storm. Yeah, whatever. Back to it. I feel like somewhere in here might actually be the best way, if we can figure out a way to do that. So we're looping through the refineries. That's fine. Checking the refineries config. Then we're looping through each key in the config. I think before I do that, I actually want to pull the inventory, which I don't think I've done in here yet. That's the refineries. Connected, enabled, cast, set up the menu, get the config, parse the config. True or refinery config contains section priority. I'm not sure about that. I don't think that should be there. See if everything breaks. Refinery priorities. Refinery displays, get the displays, set up the displays, display stuff, dig into the config. Yeah, we don't have the refinery priority or the refinery inventory yet. Okay, so we want an my inventory, refinery inventory equals refinery dot get inventory 0, which is the input inventory, and then we want a list of my inventory items, and then we want to do refinery inventory dot get items into the item list. Okay, so now we've got all of the items in the list. Now what? Now as we're going through the priorities in priority order, or key, so we don't actually have the item, we just have the key name. Yeah, we create the item type here. And the my inventory item has an item type associated with it, but it's not an item type. All right. Int item list index equals 0. So the idea here, and there may be a better way to do this, but this is what's occurring to me at the moment, is that we will go through the item list, but we'll look through the item list as for whatever it is we've got prioritized. And we'll basically say, you know, okay, like, for example, right now our priority is on this one over here, I think is magnesium, stone, uranium, scrap. So stone will be on top. We'll say, okay, we're looking at stone. At index 0, do we have stone? No, we don't. Okay, don't do anything. Magnesium, do we have magnesium? Let's say we do. Yes, we do have magnesium, and it's at index 0 specifically. So like we're going to be checking this item list at the appropriate index, which means I don't think we actually do need to get these items. We can just get item at, because that's a thing. Get item at, item slot. So we can get item at item list index. And if we basically get to the point where, can we do that? No, what we want to do is we want to get item at 1. Yeah, every time. Is that what we want to do? I'm sorry, I should have planned this out better. Okay, so we're going through in priority order. Stone, magnesium, uranium, scrap. Let's say that we have stone and uranium, because that's what's going to happen most often for the immediate future. So stone is going to be coming in at the end. So we get to stone first, and we say get item at 0. It's going to be uranium, and that's going to be wrong. And then we want to say if there is any stone in here, we want to clear it, because we found uranium in slot 0, but there's stone behind it somewhere, which is wrong. So we'll clear it in that case. And that means we don't actually need any of this except for the inventory. So after we sort ore is when we want to do this. We can do the displaying and everything. We can increment the priority index, which I don't remember what that's for. Oh, that's so we can keep track of how far down the list we are to display the indicator of what we're selecting on the menu. So that's the priority index is part of the menu. And I'm comfortable doing it after that. So we'll say refinery inventory dot get item at 0. 0? No, because we do want an index here. For when things are sorted properly. So like if stone is in front, but we've still got uranium at the end, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to start saying, okay, well, stone's in the right place. Stone's where it's supposed to be. Now we're going to start checking the next index. I mean, it's going to be rare that we're going to have 3 different ore types in the refinery at the same time, as much ore as we're working with at this point, but it's a possibility. So we will only increment if what we find is in the right spot. Get item at refinery inventory index. Whoa, I can type. My inventory item priority item, I guess, is that. And there's some sort of issue with casting all that, if I remember right. Yeah, it has to be cast. Because otherwise it's a nullable, which is weird. Alright, so get the item at that index. Then we need a my item type prioritized or equals a new new my item type, my object builder or key. So this is what we're looking for. And then we want to say if priority item dot type equals prioritized or, then refinery inventory index gets incremented. Else, if. Alright, so if we check the inventory of the refinery currently at the current refinery inventory index, and we find the kind of ore that we're looking at right now in the priority list, then we say, okay, that's fine. Now we're going to check the next one as we continue going through here. If, however, that inventory slot does not contain the ore that we're looking at, but the ore that we're looking at is in the inventory somewhere else. So we're going to say refinery inventory. I think it's contains, but I need to double check that with the API, so excuse me for a moment. Oh my god, the lag. I need the info for my inventory. Contains items. That's looking for a specific amount. Find item. Is item at? I might need that. Get item out of that. Contains items, at least that much. Find item. Okay, well, contains item isn't a thing. It contains items, and it relies on there being a certain amount of them. And that's not what we want, so we just want to do find item. So if refinery inventory find item prioritized or equals null, but we actually want if it doesn't equal null. And I think I want to wrap all this in is item at. I'll deal with that in a minute. Alright, so working through it again, sorry. Get item at the current index if or create the ore that we're looking for, the item type for it so that we can compare. If the priority item that we found is of the type that we're looking at, then okay, that's fine, move to the next index. If it's not, but the prioritized ore is somewhere else in here, because this is not null, then we need to clear the inventory. And I have to steal the command for that again. Okay, so if it finds it, we're checking the next slot. If it doesn't find it in that slot, but it does find it somewhere else, that's a problem. We need to clear it. If it doesn't find it if it doesn't find it in that slot and it doesn't find it somewhere else, then whatever. Continue. I think that's right. And I'm pretty sure we can test this relatively easily just by grabbing some stone and trying to stick it in the inventory, because it should get put in and then immediately cleared. But like I said, this get item at and casting it is going to be a problem if there's nothing in the inventory. So we want to wrap all of this in an if refinery inventory dot is item at refinery inventory index. Because if there's nothing at the index that we're checking, then there's no need to do any of this. I think that's all right. Hey, it even compiled first time. Managed to avoid syntax errors, go me. Alright, so now we're going to test this and see how wrong I am about how I think it's supposed to work. Alright, so stone is higher priority than uranium. We have a bunch of uranium. Stone is higher priority than uranium. We have a bunch of uranium. So both refineries are full of uranium at the moment. Confirmed. So if I go and grab some stone and stick it into cargo, before it would get added to the end of the refinery queue and would be waiting behind all of that uranium and wouldn't get refined for a very long time. On the other hand, if I go and grab just a little bit of stone off of the what just happened there? I'm not sure what that was. So now I feel the need to check for damage around here. Whatever. If I grab just a little bit of stone off of the uranium station, which has plenty, got some scrap too, which is also helpful. I need one steel plate for that to fix that up. Scrap is on top there. It's on the bottom here, so scrap won't go into this one, but it should get taken care of regardless. So this should go real quick. Got pulled out. The stone got done, but the scrap did not. Like, at all. Scrap's still just sitting there. So why did the stone get pulled but the scrap didn't? What happens if I clear the inventory? It got pulled. Alright, I'm not convinced that that actually did work because I didn't hear the refinery shut down like it's supposed to really quickly for clearing stuff. So I'm going to try to grab some more. What I think might have happened is it did just put it on the end, but it was... Why is that blowing out? That shouldn't be blowing out. I think I'm going too fast. So I'm losing oxygen. Something else to be messed with. I'm going to take the cargo shuttle over. I didn't turn it off anyway. If you have a little bit more cargo space on here, it should be enough to actually make a difference. Yeah, I think what happened is we just didn't have enough, so it got added in at the end and refined quickly enough that we didn't really notice. We need a healthy enough amount that it's gonna... Oh, because it was supposed to go at the end. It wouldn't have been refined at all. I'm confused. It should have been waiting behind the uranium. Alright, so that pulled in a bunch of stuff. Only inventories of the current ship. All stone, that's actually what I want. Rather than docking this initially, I'm going to try to do that by hand again real quick. Somebody send me messages awfully damn late. Alright. I'm going to go ahead and remove stone from this one. which is 8, because stone was selected already. So now the stone's not going to get pulled into there. It's all going to have to come through here. Alright, so it didn't work. Like at all. It's not even pulling it in. It's all just sitting right there. I'm confused. Controller. Edit. Put some debugging here. So that's the ore that we're looking at right now. Got in here because it found something at that index. Found that subtype ID at the index. Found uranium at 0, magnesium, uranium at 0, stone, uranium at 0, clearing inventory. Because it found stone somewhere else. Alright, well, first of all, let's just shut this one down. are you not deleting the selected ore? That should be showing the clear message. I'm not sure why that's not showing the clear message. That should be showing the clear message. Great, another bug. Now, the controller. It'll only be showing stuff for one of them now, instead of both of them. Scrap, found item at 0, it's uranium. Magnesium, it's uranium. Stone, it's uranium. But there's stone somewhere else, so clear the inventory. Oh, that's why. Because it's just done that one, it cleared the inventory, and then it's reloading uranium. Okay, so now instead of doing it where we're doing it at the end, after we do the sort, we need to do it first. And I think that will make the difference. And that doesn't look right. Okay. Can I use OR key before it's declared? Yeah, of course you can. Do it here. Now it did it. Alright, let's try it again. Oh, the oxygen tank's full, that's the problem. Yeah, see, the oxygen tank's full. So, first of all, we need to turn off the generators so they'll stop filling it up. There's nowhere for it to put it, so it's not able to pull it all out. That's why that's happening. Our personal inventory. It's a good reason. I really should have turned those ice generators off sooner. Or the O2H2 generators off sooner. And now we're back off of full. Alright, so we have no stone, but I'm going to put that in there. And it gets taken care of. Now we're able to decompress. It doesn't take much. Clearly they didn't fix that bug in the update. Alright. So now if this is ready to lock. So I'm going to do the actual locking from the control panel in here. Zero stone. $41,000 stone. And it got cleared, and it's just doing stone now. Alright, perfect. Yep, that's working the way it's supposed to. Now, why isn't it showing the scan for ores thing when I delete everything? Because if I delete everything here, it's not actually removing the last one. And it's supposed to, and I thought I had that working at one point. Process refinery commands, delete. That's not what does it. It's here. Here. Here? Here. And that's outside of this for each. Oh, that's why the if true or whatever thing was here. Alright, now I remember. And I did that because I didn't want to fix the indentation on all of this code. Is there anything else that depends on priority actually being there? Get keys priority. And that just returns an empty list, I guess, and isn't a problem if it's not there. Alright, well the correct way to fix this is actually to remove this and then fix all the indentation. And that also means we need to delete one of these down here. Like this one. No? Do I have to save? Yeah, there we go, okay. So now it's doing what it's supposed to do. But yeah, this is just going to be me deleting and hitting tab a bunch of times. So I'm going to go ahead and cut the episode off here. This is going to be our last scripting episode for a couple more, because I like to space them out. You'll remember, hopefully, if you've been watching the episodes for longer than ever. And I skipped a line there. That's how that's supposed to go. So in the next episode, I don't know what we're going to do. Maybe build some mines, maybe build a larger cargo ship that's not a miner, because right now the only real large cargo ship that we have is the mega miner, and that involves dragging a whole bunch of extra stuff that we don't really need around with us to do cargo pickups. Alternatively, we might work on a scout ship, which is also going to be a large grid, because I want to use the large grid ore detector, since that is better, has a longer range, even though it's a little bit more cumbersome to carry around. So yeah, there's a couple ideas, and then in the next scripting episode, We will either get back into the autopilot or I will fix the, no, that can actually go away because I don't need to echo all this stuff anymore. Fix the uranium script and then copy that to the ice station. Um, right now they both work, but they are also both dependent on their exact configuration not changing, uh, which is less than ideal. Whoa, that's not what I wanted to do.
Meteor storm inbound.
Um, yeah, because if there's more than three elevation pistons or less than three elevation pistons, which eventually there will be because we're going to have to take one of those off to finish out that deposit, that script will no longer function the way it's supposed to. I mean, when we do the one piston, it's not really going to need to function like that because there's only going to be, a very quick and dirty little bit of drilling that gets done. Um, but still, we would like it to be a little bit more general purpose than it is at the moment. And also, just I don't like the way it's written. It's very difficult to understand and maintain. I mean, I was trying to go through it, the other day and explain it even yesterday, um, and that was a bit of a mess. So yeah, I want to rewrite that just generally. And now that's working. Scan for ore. I remember what I put that true in for because it was like the way this is working is the refineries have the priority lists saved in the custom data. So if there's no priorities listed, um, then it skips that entire if block that updates the displays. So we do need that to be there, or just remove the if condition altogether, which is what I did. Because removing the if condition is actually what we're supposed to do. Hacking it with a true or is, like I said, hacking it. Also, another bug that I want to fix, and I'm not exactly sure why this is doing it this way, is the way that this is scrolling is not the way that I intended it to be scrolling, but I don't know why it's doing that, and I've tried to fix that a couple times off camera and haven't had much success, so I'm going to devote a little bit more effort and energy to that, but since I don't know what I'm doing and what I'm doing wrong, I'm not going to torture you with me trying that over and over again. Anyway, like I said, next time's going to be building some stuff. Likes, comments, and verbal abuse are welcome. Subscribe to see what happens next, and thanks so much for watching. See you next time.